We're lucky enough to have the smartest guy in the building right here, which is Carl. So Carl's had 15 years at USAA. They know what it means to serve. They serve our US military around the world. They take care and secure millions of transactions on a daily and weekly basis. Carl himself is actually even part of a couple of groups, the FS, the Financial Services ISAC, as well as the ITF. And remind me what ITF is?
The Internet Engineering Task Force.
There you go. This is a person who's helping set the standards for cryptography. Right here, he's in those conversations.
So USAA as a company was started in 1922. We basically exist to ensure the financial security of our members. And our membership, while becoming more and more diverse over the years, is still heavily focused on our United States military community. So that means they live all over the world, and sometimes very geographically separated from their families. And so with that comes a lot of unique opportunities for us to help serve them better. So we'll have a family living here in the States while their husbands deployed over into Iraq, and being able to have either one of them pick up the phone and call us and be able to get somebody to help through whatever their needs are is very important to us.
And the other part is from the back end, as you look at machine identities, to make sure that communication happens in case someone has to use an ATM here or someone's trying to pay a bill from overseas.
Absolutely.
That's the important part of what you do from the background.
Right.
You know, as we talk about future-proofing, this is the definition, if you look it up. But what I think is unique at USAA is this is USAA's definition. And the one word in here that I really like is anticipating, because you're looking forward, right?
Absolutely. So one of the things that we really try to do is to watch what's going on in the industry, to make sure we're paying attention to things that are happening around the CAB forum. That's the group of certificate authorities and browsers that come together and help decide on what the future of PKI is going to look like, what it needs to look like in order to help keep those systems secure. We also pay attention to the IETF, making sure we know what upcoming standards are so that we can start using them and be ready to adopt them whenever they are ready.
You guys look at it from 3 points of view. It's not just technology, but it's the people, the process. And when we look at this, we've had discussions on education. For you people, it's about education.
Absolutely.
And process is about that efficiency and consistency. And then technology is what technology can support. So if you can, walk through a few of these things, because this is how you start to set your plan for being crypto agile, which is one of the first lines, but more importantly, as you start thinking about future technology.
Yeah, from a technology perspective, using Venafi to help manage our machine identities wherever they happen to exist. So we have a whole wide range of technology. We're having to support this very, very vast array of different technologies. And being able to have a centralized management of those machine identities wherever they happen to live is extremely important for being able to react to those changes in the industry, as well as making sure that we know what algorithms and what types of cryptographic assets we have.
How you get that buy-in and urgency, because this is usually one of the hardest parts to do, but you do it pretty well.
Yeah, it's really about talking with people in the upper management with the language that they understand, the language of risk and the language of preparedness for the future. So we know that we have a need in the future to do this migration. We know that there's a risk of quantum computers being ready. We know that there's always the risk of another distrust event with a certificate authority. Everything that we're preparing and planning for quantum computing to be there as a real and present and ready risk, everything that we've done is going to be useful for anything like 90-day rotations, with a distrust event from a CA, with an algorithm being broken, maybe not by a quantum computer. And it's something that various people over the last couple of years have threatened that they've found a magical solution to RSA without a quantum computer. So a lot of the automation and AI would revolve around the types of detection for anomalies. So being able to feed a large language model that knows this is what a private key looks like. So maybe this is how somebody is exfiltrating a private key, and we'll be able to detect that and send that to our detections team. And so they would know what's happening. And then we'd be able to jump into an incident response and replace it. Because we have automation, we can replace it like that.
And I'll tell you, from a data scientist, because that's where I'm from, whenever I see AI and automation, what you just said, anomaly detection, it just is a good day. It's a really good day. I mean, the next one here is the zero trust and CLM. This is the frame, the CLS, but how it fits into zero trust for your risk officers and even for your auditors, you said, how we fit into that framework, saying how we strengthen it.
Yeah, and I've never seen a discussion about zero trust that doesn't include strong identities like certificates. Mm-hmm. So that's definitely.
Yeah, well, the other part to this is, when you the continuous validation of both the device as well as the API identities, but you're taking it a step further and you want to actually go out and say, I need to also do the human side of this as well, which brings in the wonderful world of CyberArk.
Absolutely.
into that area, which then takes you into how to become quantum-resistant security, which is knowing all those identities you said that are going to be playing. So give us a little bit about how you take a look at that, especially with your experience with the other organizations you work with, that you advise on.
So doing that transition to quantum computer, or to post-quantum certificates, to post-quantum cryptography, having the ability to know what algorithms you're going to and being able to adjust on the fly if a new algorithm comes out. That's also very important.
Yeah, I think the other part to that is, one of the words in here that says is vulnerable. But in your plan, you said, I've identified those vulnerable keys that we're going to have to address or that we're going to have to deal with in case someone does something wrong, which is also part of the detection. And then the last part of this is this one. If there's anything that you want to walk away here, the one thing you guys do real well is that cross-functional collaboration between everyone. And you do it in a non-combative way. And being Italian, that's incredible, to let you know. But just a little bit about how you make sure that you have that collaboration amongst everyone involved.
Yeah, so we've partnered really closely with our development teams across the organization to be sure that they know that we're there for them, to be able to help them understand cryptography and certificates and TLS and all of these acronyms that maybe they don't already have a great understanding and a good concept of. But we can be there to help translate all of those vendor docs that tell them how to get their certs into what they really need to do, and to be that partner so that we can help them with their automation, make sure that they understand that they can automate.
These are your key takeaways as we take a look at it. The automation of the certificate lifecycle, that's centralized visibility, the integration with DevOps and cloud-native environments, and then the focus on strong security policies and compliance, which is you're a financial services company, but you're also a global company, and then the adoption of that post-quantum cryptography. Is there any other takeaways as we get to our closing thoughts that you want to impart as well, besides what you've identified are the big things that someone's got to be thinking about in future-proofing?
Having the ability to take all of your machine identities, put it into a single system, understanding where everything is, being ready to switch out those algorithms because you've already incorporated the idea of automating those machine identities across your organization.
Thank you.
Thank you.